I built an entire profitable app solo and it did $500,000 in trading volume. And the craziest part is, I don't know any code. I did it with the help of AI vibe coding the entire thing, all within 1 week with zero AI coding experience. In this video, I'm gonna take you through how I thought of this idea, how I marketed it, how I built the app using just AI, and the revenue I got from it after 1 month of the app being live. All right, let's take it from the top. What is my app? So basically, I built a tool called Ore Miner, and I made it for a trending web app called Ore Protocol. The easiest way to understand how Ore Protocol works is to think of it like a roulette table. Imagine a table with a 5x5 grid. Every minute there is a winning tile. Players place money on tiles, and at the end of every minute, they receive all the money from the losing tiles as well as a share of one ore. Once a winning tile is randomly chosen, the grid resets and you do it all over again. Now it sounds odd, but this game has blown up and become one of the largest crypto apps by transaction volume. So after testing the app, I found that a big problem is how manual everything is. I need to pick a tile and then send my money. Like, hello, what if there was a way to do this automatically? That's where Ore Miner comes in. It automates the whole process. You just tell it how much money you want to spend each round, and it will automatically place bets for you while you are away. Now that I've told you what the app is, pretty weird, I know. How did I even come up with this idea? And how did it generate $500,000 in volume? Well, the first thing I did was I didn't focus on the game itself, I focused on the opportunity. A new app that's grown so quickly would have a lot of opportunity for small builders to create dashboards and all sorts of tooling. So I went on Twitter and posted about the protocol and didn't think much of it. But when I woke up the next morning, I saw the post had generated way more engagement than any of my previous posts. After seeing this post's success, I acted fast because it told me there was a super active community behind this app that was hungry for more ore-related content. As I explained earlier, the first thing I did was I tested the app. I became a user and wrote down the problems I was facing. There was one big issue. Competitors started popping up and I hadn't even started building my app yet. However, there is always a silver lining. Seeing the success of their bots gave me a ton of validation, and it made things easier because I knew I could just copy their playbook. And it made questions like monetization a lot easier because I could just use them as a starting point. I started using my competitors' tools and seeing where I could improve on there as well. And it was here where I found my edge. You see, though my competitors were first to market, they rushed the build and it required users to keep their screen on the whole time for the bot to work properly. This is a seriously poor user experience, and I knew that in order for me to beat them, I had to solve this problem fast. So I got to work, and although I was clocking in 14-hour days, it took me an entire week to build the app. And just as I was getting to the finish line, I faced my next problem. My competitors just announced they'd be adding a feature that would allow their users to use their bot while their screens were off. The moment I saw this, I started freaking out. This was the only edge my bot had against my competitors. And at this point in time, I still had a lot of bugs that needed fixing. But I also knew that if I took too long, I would lose the competitive edge that I had spent so long trying to build. So I knuckled down and launched my app at 1 a.m. that night and went to bed praying that it would work. The next morning, I woke up to 15 new users. It might not sound like a lot, but it made me super happy. Yes, the actual founder of Solana, Anatoly, who has over 600,000 followers, retweets the post on my Twitter account. Over the next few days, my app blew up in numbers and went from 77 users to 229 users. This gave me more than enough motivation to keep fixing bugs and releasing updates. At one point, I was releasing 2 to 3 patch updates per day. Now, a few days after the Solana founder retweets my post, I thought I would do something different. I decided to make another post talking about the effects that his retweet had on my app's growth. And I'm not making this up, I promise. He retweets it again. This time on my personal account, he retweets a post about me mentioning how he retweeted my post. Like, is this tweetception or what? Now, as things died down throughout the month, I basically would switch between marketing and building. One day I would be fixing a bug or adding a new feature. The next day I would be writing up posts and coming up with ideas for content. The AI tool I used to build the app was Replit. And although it was easy to use at first, it could be really frustrating at times, as on occasion I would try to implement basic features and it would just completely crash the app. I specifically remember this one Saturday. I usually don't work on Saturdays, but the app was gaining traction and I was super motivated to work on it. So I thought I'd just add a few tweaks, nothing crazy. Maybe 1 or 2 hours of work max. However, around 1 p.m. after some slight debugging, the app completely crashed and it wasn't even functioning. Users were messaging me saying how they lost their money, and I started to stress because no matter what I did, I couldn't figure out what was going on. I even had a party planned with my friends later that night at around 6, but when it came around, I still hadn't fixed the problem. I thought maybe I could fix it while at their house. So I dressed up and drove to theirs with my laptop. And I'll be completely honest with you, I wasn't even socializing with anyone. I was just so locked in on fixing my app. I had all these users complaining about the app not working and I was on a mission to fix it. At this point, I had already driven back home because I was just too stressed to even be around my friends. And I decided to just revert all the changes that I had done that day, all the way back to the previous day. I really didn't want to do this because it would have erased an entire day's work, but as my last resort, I did it and it actually worked. The app started working fine again, but this was a big lesson for me with Replit. Sometimes you try to fix something and you can just dig a hole so deep that asking the AI to fix things will only dig the hole deeper. Luckily, I didn't face any more of those issues, but there were a lot of times where debugging something would take a few hours. Maybe it's because I have literally zero coding experience, so I was so heavily reliant on the AI to know what to do. And on top of all that, what started as a $25 monthly Replit subscription was charging me $80 in AI tokens every single day because I was just using the tool that much. So yeah, just be prepared for these kinds of setbacks when building your own app. And if anyone has a recommendation for an affordable AI tool, let me know in the comments below. Okay, so the moment you've been waiting for, how much revenue did my bot bring in? So, as of recording this video, it has been exactly 1 month since my app went live. Now, the way I made money from the bot was I would take a 0.25% cut of any transaction that is made. And now it might not sound like a lot, but each round is only a minute long. And when you automate something that runs 1,000 times a day, even if users are only betting pennies, it can result in really large sums of money in the long run. So here are my results. Now, by the end of the month, I had 440 total users. Of that, I've got 4 who are using the app currently while I'm recording this video. And in the month, all these users generated 2,655 Solana in volume. I'll leave that on the screen somewhere for the conversion rate. So the total revenue that I generated from that volume is 6.65 Solana, which as of recording is about $1,238. Now, this sounds pretty decent, but if we consider all the Replit fees as well as the network fees I had to pay, that would mean I'm sitting at about a net loss of $1,800. You see, those daily Replit charges of $80 were just a little too high when building the bot. But now that the bot is pretty much built, hopefully the fees won't be too high and I can turn it into a profitable app. Moving forward, to grow this thing and make it bigger, I've actually started working on building it into a mobile app because Solana has a really big mobile community. So hopefully that's going to bring in a new wave of users and make my app profitable. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.